can join us when they join us. Welcome. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma. Thank you for joining me. I also want to thank those on Facebook Live for joining us, and also for last week. I got some feedbacks and I'm going to work on it because this is something new for me. I welcome you once more. You can also get all our videos on our YouTube page, Better Nigeria Youth Oriented, on our Instagram, Twitter, the same handle, even our Facebook page. The videos is going to be posted there after each session. We have our guests with us already, and I'm going to be introducing them. Please, once I introduce you, you can talk so that I recognize you.
Sure.
Okay. Mommy first. I'm going to introduce our mommy. Her name is Dr. Adeniyi. She's an advocate and barrister. She's the CEO of Women on Watch, among many others. You're welcome, ma. Yes, ma. Okay.
Thank you so much. I just unmuted myself.
Okay, ma. Okay, ma. Thank you, ma. I'm going to introduce Pastor Olaniyi. He told me not to put any other Jara to his name. I should just say Pastor Olaniyi. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Finally,
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Finally, with us today, we have Engineer Olajide Olayiwola Yusuf. He contested as a member of Federal House of Representatives to represent Saki West, Saki East, and Sigbo local government of Nigeria, Oyo State, in the past election. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I appreciate. Please also, before we start, we are going to be giving opportunities to our audience to ask questions just before the end of this podcast. So if as time goes on and you want to ask any question, you can just jot it down. And when it's time to ask questions, you can put it forward. Once again, I welcome everybody. Today's discussion is born out of the fact that the government primarily views religious organizations as political mobilizing agents instead of providing systematic supports for their development activities. I'm going to start with Pastor Olaniyi. Please, can you just try to enlighten us what you see religion as? How do we take it? What is it supposed to be in the right terms?
Okay, thank you, and good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Let's be clear about something. We should not bring the two together at all. Why am I saying that? When you talk of religion, we're talking of your faith in God. And I believe that is more important than any other thing we are talking about. And yes, we are all human beings, and we might be affiliated to one party or the other, but I don't believe the two should. I don't think, like, I'm a Christian. I don't think politics, we should bring it into the church. I don't believe so. Church should be non-partisan. Church should be non-political. Church should be clear to say, come, what we are dealing with here is our faith in God, building people to love God and follow God, but not to bring politics into the church. If politicians come to the church as pastor, I don't have a problem, but you cannot drag me into a political party because I'm not going to follow you. That's not my business.
Okay.
That's not my place. Yes, I might take part in voting, but you cannot drag me as a pastor into a particular political party. I believe the two should be separate completely.
Okay, sir. Is there
We are all human beings.
Yes.
Yes.
any biblical backup to say the Bible doesn't want Christians to be involved, or it's just a personal understanding?
Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying Christians cannot be politicians. Please. Christians can join a political party and contest. But my take is this. You need to be sure what your calling is. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Because don't forget something, when you talk of Christian faith, we are talking of a relationship with Christ. That is something you have to cherish more than any other thing. If now same God calling you to join a party to contest for a post, it's not bad, it's not wrong.
Okay,
it's
sir.
not. But you need to be sure it is your place, it is your calling, is God calling you into it. Don't forget, when you become a child of God, God becomes your star. And you have to follow instruction. You need to ask him, God, do you want me? If he allows you, if he gives you the green light to actually join a party and contest, there's no problem there. But it's not for everybody. It needs to be something that God is asking you to do. It's not the place for everybody. It's not a sin to be a politician. It's not. For me, okay.
Let me ask you of Mr. Oladile. I know that you are a Muslim and you're a conk Muslim. How do you see it? How is it seen in your religion? How should let me put it as religious people be able to participate? Because personally, I feel that if we as Christians or Muslims or traditionalists or religious people, we complain about our government and we don't want to be involved. I don't feel we should complain. So what do you think about what is your take on religion and politics?
Okay, technically, I would four of us say, let me advise us that if we are not talking, we can mute our audio and also mute our video to enhance the quality of production we get, to make it better. That's technical observation. We can block our video and mute ourselves to avoid interference. Now, going to the question. I would like to be more, I would like to appear more as a citizen in a country than either a politician or a religionist or something. The very first thing we should always understand is that tolerance is a prerequisite to coexistence. While collaborating in most essential intelligence of our development together, tolerance is the first thing. Now, the basis of religion in politics or politics in religion has a factor that it's about human life. And because politics is about human life from birth, politics is about human life from pregnancy, so as it is with religion. So there are two compound subjects we are bringing together, but it's good because they work hand in hand. For some of us, we came into those worlds as individuals to have different calling through different channels, and we came into this world and to do different things. Some people have to be politicians because politicians by appearance, or invariably everybody is a politician, either in the church or in the mosque, in the workspace or in our domestic home. We are all politicians. And not until we start realizing that we are all politicians by default, then we not identify who are politicians by appearance or by governance or by leadership. Then we now start identifying that. But religiously, I would say from the Islamic faith, you cannot take away politics. You cannot take politics away from leadership. And once you speak about leadership, you talk about religion. So you now have to talk about the positive and the negative influence of religion and politics in human life and in human endeavor. And that is where I will start from, while we go on.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Olayinka, what's your take on it? And also, telling us your take on it, would you please try to explain to us what you see as the relationship between religion and politics? Is there a relationship or it's not?
This is a very interesting topic. Um, the first thing I want to say is the fact that personal opinions is not about what we are talking about today. From what we are taught, human beings are political animals.
Yes.
So just like the engineer said, everybody has an aspect of politics in their lives. And we have seen that even in the church too. And when we talk about religion, we are talking about diverse faith, diverse beliefs. So I see that being political animals, everybody brings up actions or expressions that show this nature within us. Politics is about leadership. It's about the systems, the activities that goes on to get to positions or to bring up results within organizations. So we are all part of it, whether we like it or not. And if we look at the Bible, a lot of the things there are political, either by systems or by empires. Even God himself, in his choices and relationship with man, with the Israelites, there were aspects of politics that we could see in this. And from the instructions that we have, there is no how Christians or whatever your faith, we can exempt ourselves from politics. We have it in our homes, we have it in our organizations, we have it among siblings, among families. It's just the play of people, the interactions of people when it comes to making choices, making decisions about leadership. And so that is my take about it.
Thank you, Ma. Okay. Let me. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. You want to say?
Okay. Yeah, please, let me make this clear. Like I said, when it comes to politics in the public places, that's what I'm trying to talk about. That it is not for everyone. It is not for everyone. Yes, there's politics playing in one places or the other, but when it comes to holding public office through political parties, I do not believe is the place for everyone. I want to believe if it's what God wants you to do, it will guide you into it. Yes, I agree there's politics everywhere, but the point of the matter is to hold public office is something that you really need to be sure God is guiding you to do. And it's not wrong. It's not a sin. It's acceptable. As long as it's God leading you there. And it's what God wants you to do, please do it with everything in you.
Okay, sir. The thing is, what we are trying to get clear here is that should Christians or Muslims or traditional practitioners be, is it biblical, or is it in the Quran that it should be practiced? Like, should we as Christians shy away from it? Is it right? That's what we're trying to say.
No, okay. That's what I'm trying to say, that it is not wrong. Of course, if we are the people who can hold office and be honest and be truthful, why not?
Okay.
It's not wrong. There's nothing wrong there, because we have to do it because we will be able to do it better. Even I believe because we have.
Okay, before he comes back, I think his network is bad. Mr. Olajide, you want to chip in? Hello? Mr. Olajide, you want to chip in?
To enjoy ourselves better, I will advise that you mute everybody and probably shut the video of those who are not talking so as to enhance the video quality.
The quality, yeah.
That is very key. Pastor is still on the floor, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, like I'm explaining, I agree we should hold offices as people who have God in us. It's actually very good. You know why? We will do it better. I believe it is not wrong, it is not sinful, in fact, we should vie for the offices. But then, my point is, when we get there, we should not forget our background. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Mr. Olajide, you wanted to chip in.
Okay, I wanted to chip in that in Islam, where I would want to pick a stand from right now, Islam had supported leadership, and there will not be emergence of leadership if there is no politics, either by nomination, selection, or election. Are you with me? Either by nomination, selection, or election, there must be politics involved. So now we now have to query the system at which politics is being played in the modern day. Is it in the conformance of what the religious prescriptions are like, or the cultural prescriptions are like, and what went wrong in political arrangements that makes leadership becomes more horrible than enticing? And in the real sense, are politicians supposed to be servants, or as servants as leaders, or leaders as rulers? So these are questions we really need to genuinely answer.
Yes.
So now when you now look at religion impacting into politics, you now look at two evaluations: the contribution of religious leaders and the contribution of political leaders in politics itself. Religious leaders are a prey for political leaders to use when election is about to come to time, because they understand the factor of numbers and they realize that they do have the number of gatherings. And they do know that it is not more what the Afa says. I mean, it is not more what the God says, but what my Afa or my pastor says. So they are going to follow what their pastor or their Afa says, not what God says, not what God prescribes. Are you getting the point now? So it is we are in between incapable leaders and ignorance followers in the political realm and in the religious realm. We have incapable leaders and ignorance followers, and in this kind of system, you cannot have a sane environment for either religion or politics to transform or to transpire. And in turn, when you have political leaders influencing religious leaders to get into power, they will in turn influence religious leadership too, because they will have to bring in people to the church who will listen to them, who would obey their rules when the time of election comes. So in turns, we cannot shy away from these two backgrounds, religious and politics. They are interwoven and they are part of human life from birth. So it is commonsensical for us to now demystify the process at which politics and religion are in action. It has divided us more than it has united us. Is it supposed to be? Is politics or religion supposed to be pro-humanity or anti-humanity? That is a question we need to ask now.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. And next, Mrs. Olayinka, has there been any time in history, because I know you're a barrister, you have a PhD in law. So I would want to ask, is there any time in history that religion has played a positive role in politics? Has there been any time like that? That
has always been the situation. That has always been the situation. There is an influence of religion in politics, and there is an influence of politics in religion. Just like engineer said, both of them are connected and interrelated. If we look at the situation of Nigeria now, the present situation that we are, it is the cause of religion, the interference of religion with politics. Religion has always had an influence over the people, and so over their choices, and this leads into their choices or decision making in politics. So it's just a matter of sense. It's just logical that is what happens everywhere. So like engineer said, we only need to know how we can be able to temper this influence, so that when we think politics, when we think leadership, it is not just based on a particular person's faith, but it is on capability. Personally, as a person, in supporting what the pastor is saying, I don't get involved in religion. From what I learned, I don't get involved in politics. Politics is a dirty game. I don't. But we have seen the influence, even when we want to vote. If you look at the situation in Nigeria, that is what happens. People base it on, okay, this person is from my religion, this person is from my faith. We should rather look at the capability of each person or the people that we are bringing into power. The influence of religion is so much. Look at the Constitution of Nigeria. The Constitution provides freedom of religion. But when we look at politics, the play that got us into that Constitution is about politics, is about religion. And so, and that's the fact. That's the reality on ground.
Okay, Ma. Thank you, Ma. Do you want to? Okay, Pastor.
Yeah, you asked a question regarding whether religion has played part. If you look at the Roman Empire, that's in like 300 thereabout AD, you will find out something, that even under that empire, there's this leader called Constantine. You find out that because he got to know God along the line, it influenced so much. But one thing we should learn from history, because that's the difference, like what Mommy is trying to talk about. We have to distinguish. We shouldn't, even though he became like a Christian and he was supporting the church. But the thing is this, if you read history of Constantine in the Roman Empire, he did not, because he became a Christian, choose only Christian into the cabinet. In fact, history did that more than 75% of the people working with him did not even accept it. But because of their experience, he used them. You see, that's the problem we have to. That's the difference. Even though he come to know God and became a Christian, most of the people in his cabinet were still people who refused to by his own faith. Why? He was using what is fair, and that is to say, is this person fit for the office? Not because this person is a particular faith. And that's the problem I have today. I agree with everyone speaking to say that religion has come into politics, is mingled in fact, in every nation of the world. But the point of the matter is this: we should find a way to actually not use religion as the basis. We should actually use the integrity of the people who are contesting for offices. That will do a lot of good anywhere in the world. Thank you.
Let me just welcome those who are just joining us. Today we are talking about religion and politics. Are we supposed to is it supposed to be something that is interwoven, or as Christians or as religious people, we should just stay back and watch what's happening, or we should take part and try to see how we can be involved? Because if we're not involved, we cannot complain. Next, how do religious beliefs drive the actions of individuals and faith-based organizations to politics? Mommy, I'm going to throw this to you.
Thank you so much. I think in answering the question, you answer has been said. It has been the nature of man or experience that religion has always influenced political decisions of participants or religious people. When we call for political parties, even though we don't get a lot of faith-based people, at least from the Christian side, in parties, it is wrong. But the fact is, as much as we want to, like Pastor said, it is for those who are called. And the scripture encourages us to pray and to support the people in leadership. If God has called you into leadership, particularly in public politics, there is no how your integrity will not show and you will not be able to lead properly. But if you are not called, or you just have the drive to go into it, is always a problem. We have seen people who have the drive for it and they've gone there and they failed. At the end of the day, they spoil their names, they spoil their integrity, and they spoil the faith. But religion has always influenced people. When we want to vote, when we call for people coming forth, God's so good, people are coming up now. A lot of people are coming up from their faith now that they want to get involved. It's good. They want to get involved in politics. It is good. And we pray for so much of this because it is from our beliefs. It is from our responses to our faith that we have people relating and behaving appropriately or negatively. So your faith will determine how you would behave, how you relate with the property of the society. And God help us. But religion has always had a part to play. It's been like that.
Thank you, Ma. Mr. Olani, do you have anything to contribute to this? Or we've said it all? She said it all.
Are you
No.
Are you talking to me?
No, sir. I'm talking to Pastor Olani.
Okay. Yeah, I just like what we've been explaining, which people should take part. And I'm saying this on the ground that if we know, because don't forget the principle of Jesus when it comes to leadership. Jesus taught us servant leadership. And that is what we do in our political arena today. Why am I going there? If God is guiding you to take that decision, and you are going to be a servant of the people, to serve people, not to enrich yourself, and you carry your Christian values along, and you serve with purpose, with integrity, it will make a difference.
Okay.
But if people go there, like Mommy is saying, we've seen it. People go in, they say they are this, they are that. When they go in, the spoil of the office tarnish everything. That's why I believe you need to pray and you need to know God is leading you. And don't forget that when you go to that office, don't forget, you are a servant of the people. Because that's what Jesus taught. He said, anyone that wants to be great among you must be your servant, not to lord it over people. But in politics today, that's why people need to think deeply. Is that what is taking place? That's another ballgame altogether. But it is not wrong. And please, I will even encourage people who are called to do that. The only thing is we will stand by them to talk to them. Please don't lose your integrity. Don't lose focus. Don't forget that the primary thing is that you are a child of God and you are representing a faith. Don't spoil the name of God. Don't drag the name of God in the mud. That is one thing all of us who are not vying for political offices need to do as a support, as prayer, and to keep talking to them so that they don't lose focus of who they are before they started being in that office. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Engineer Olajide, can we hear from you or we said it all?
Okay, well, in addendum,
Yes.
I would say, Islamically, politics, it's a process of leadership that you are being taken through. You're neither born by it or born with it, but it is through some value system. They have something we call ilmu dinu, that's the knowledge of the religion. We have what we call wisdom of the religion, and we have what we call morals of the religion. When you check a lot of people right now, I won't talk about Islam alone, I will talk religiously because we're talking religion. Most people have knowledge of the religion. Most people have knowledge of the religion, even in excess. Even they can do tests of as many verses of the Bible or the Quran as much as possible, but they lack the wisdom of the religion, so they cannot lead. It's a value system you have to check in someone who wants to lead. So when he lacks the wisdom, then there is a problem. So when you now lack the wisdom of your religion, then you also lack the morals of your religion, because it is through the wisdom you will see the morals teaching to imbibe. And these are the stages Islam has categorized that you must efficiently look at. And there are two things a leader must have, that most times it is beyond the calling. You must have the energy. You must have the energy to serve. Because like Pastor said, and like I earlier said, it is a service not just to your faith, but it's a service to humanity. You would be in a political office not because of people of your faith. You will be in the political office because of the people in your community. You are going to have minority religion and you are going to have majority religion. And you must not use that to influence your faith or mandate people to your faith. So it is a critical session that requires a very deep analysis and dissection that we need to know. And in the final note on this session, I plead to religious leaders. I plead so much to religious leaders. Let's go beyond the teachings of religion. Let's also try to lead in religious practice by example. Both the Christians, the Muslims, the pagans have all failed their community, their people, even in the church or the mosque leadership, in most cases. So you are failed in the church or the mosque leadership, definitely your followers will fail in the system, in the public system leadership if they find themselves there. Because they are expected to be reported to the pastor or the alpha, whom is also partially corrupt, waiting for a cut of his own. So that is a mindset. I think we should talk more of pro-humanity. It is not, politics is not meant for a faith or a people or a sect of people. Fine, you can emerge through a faith or a set of people, but it is pro-humanity. And this is essential. When the daily bread was being shared, the daily bread was not just being shared to the faithful alone. So let's go on.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure I don't know if you heard about Mohamed Bala. He was sentenced to death. He was, yes, he was the lead. He is the leader of the Humanitarian Association of Nigeria. He was sentenced to death. And this question comes in this way. Nigeria is a secular country. We are not supposed to be held bound by the Sharia law or this law. Nigeria has its own constitution. So this question is, are we as Nigerians supposed to allow, or not even allow, is it supposed to be so that a part of Nigeria has Sharia and the other parts don't, and the rule of law doesn't apply to that particular place? And if you commit an atrocity, blaspheme, or talk against the religion, you are sentenced to death, or you are sentenced to something or the other. This question is it supposed to be so, since Nigeria is supposed to be a secular country? I will give this to Mrs. Olayinka.
From the constitution, Nigeria is supposed to be a secular state. But the interpretation of secular is a factor to be considered. A secular state in that it permits all the religions in existence. And we have seen that in practicality. When we talk about tours, pilgrimages, we see how the government supports Islam and Christianity, both religions at the same time. When it comes to politics, we see the way we have figured out our systems. If a party is if there's a political party, we have a Christian vying for the presidency, then the VP must be from another religion. In the understanding of secularity, we have brought in the domination of particular religions. We have brought in the recognition of different religions. And this is going a long way in affecting us. If you look at the legislative systems, how we make laws, and some particular issues or aspects of life that have been given to the federal government or the state government, and the separation or division of Nigeria as a state, we see how the influence of religion has come into play. In the north, it has been earmarked for Muslims. In the west, it has been earmarked for Christians by number. And we see it playing out in our politics. We see it playing out in everything that we do. We see it playing out in our laws. Somebody was talking to me the other time about the problem that we have in Nigeria, and that there is the need for us to change the constitution. I said the problem I have is that the constitution itself provides the way that it can be changed or how it can be reformed. And the way Nigeria is at this particular time, it is not possible to favor a change for a particular sector. Talk about the people who make up the National Assembly. By the partition of states, by the division of states, a particular sector from Nigeria makes up more parties or more numbers. Of course, they will vote in their interest, and they will vote against the reform of the constitution which is in their interest. So I don't, even though we have Nigeria as a secular state, in practice, in reality, the interpretation of that secularity influences a lot of things. For a country like Zambia, that is provided specifically that it is a Christian state, even though you still have Muslims there, but the constitution provides that it's a Christian state, we see the way things are working. But African generally, we have the same problems. Notwithstanding that, Nigeria responds so much to the issue of human rights, and placing this on the secularity of the state is one of the problems that we have. Unfortunately, we cannot pick one particular religion. I'm a Christian, but I wouldn't say that my religion is the best, because religion itself, by interpretation, is your relationship or your belief or faith in a superior God which you have chosen. Because I've made a choice for that does not mean that another person's own is fake. But what we are talking about is the practice of our faith, how it affects politics in Nigeria, how it affects leadership. Just like we have been saying, a lot of people claim a particular religion, but they don't show it. It doesn't influence, it doesn't reflect in their politics. In the North, for instance, they believe so much in Sharia, and Sharia believes so much in leadership. It is not the same with the Christian faith. A lot of us shy from politics. We shy from taking part, even though we play it in the church. But the interpretation of secularity from the Constitution of Nigeria is something that we need to talk about, because it's affecting a lot of things.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma. Let's Mr. Olajide, before we go to you, as someone is raising his hand, please, if you have any questions or contributions, we are going to give time before the end of this podcast so that we can all ask our questions, and it will be open to anyone who wants to ask. Mr. Olajide, can you throw more light on this, and what do you see in this sense?
Okay, I think the word Sharia has been pronounced in the conversation that made me do a form of enlightenment on Sharia. And as the case might be applicable to some parts of Nigeria, has agreed by those people and their leadership. Now, what is Sharia? Sharia is an Islamic law, or a rudiment, is a religious law forming a part of Islamic tradition, just to guide. It's just like when you have the Canaan law, right? Now, this law is not enforced, is not mandated, is not a must if you have not reached a concession within a state that we say this is a Sharia law and we want to practice it, and we have agreed to practice it, which has its own process. They wouldn't just wake up in a day to practice. That's number one. Number two is that as the case of our own country, Nigeria, Sharia law came into practice 1998, and it started from Zamfara State by extension to 9 other states. And we have had series of deliberations and all that. But now there is a question that will lead me to another term of Islamic terms that have been over abused and bastardized. The word Sharia means law. So when you say Sharia law, honestly, you are making tautology. You rather just say Sharia, because Sharia means Islamic law. So when you now look at Islamic law and the context of Islamic law, you now start doing analysis and dissection of what it is. That aside. Now, the states that had Sharia are in its place did not just come about Sharia. It was a customary law that was imbibed, which barrister can attest to or give me a contrary view, is a customary law that was brought in and given the judicial pronouncements, and it started that way. Now, let's now go to how it affects our governance and the North. The North is, just like she rightly said, the North is predominantly a more of the Muslims, while the South or the Southwest, South or the Southeast is predominantly a more of the Christians. And there is a routine that we need to understand in this section. In every religion, you have extremists, and you have people who practice laxity, and you have people who practice moderacy. Then you now have to check and ask. We don't just come by the media to ask if an action has been taken in an extremist way, or in a secular way, or in a moderate way, or in a laxity way. So we need to introspect, we need to ask questions. And like I was on TV when the case of the activist happened. Honestly, if the guy had been a resident of Lagos State, doing whatever he is doing, probably that law would have not even affected him. And even at the Sharia law, he pleaded guilty. So when the case of beheading or killing came, Islam did not just support beheading. The judge also gave an appeal grace of about a month, which it can go. So all these processes, we have to ask that, why was beheaded mentioned? Why was the case of an appeal to be made within a month not pronounced in the media? Why are this and this and this are not happening? So for the sake of love, I would not talk about religious tolerance, because we cannot tolerate ourselves. And that's a mistake we have. We kept on asking for tolerance. Tolerance doesn't work when you have people with different temperaments, different religion, different background. Rather, you now have religious cooperation. We would sit down at the round table. There is an interfaith-based association or organization that the government has put in place. We'll sit down at a round table. What is bearable and what is not bearable? This is not a full Islamic state, and this is not a full Christian state. Okay. Where can we have a kind of addendum?
Please, can you try to... No, you can round up.
Okay, in rounding up, in rounding up, this is what I want to say in a nutshell. Islam, Christianity are brothers. It is just a misconception of faith and understanding. As much as some people as Christians can introspect into Islam, so as Muslims too can introspect into Christianity is allowed. Pick a copy of the Bible and the Quran, do a personal dialysis of it, and let us live as humans rather than as enemy, so that we can make a development out of our differences rather than enmity out of our differences. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Olayinka, if you would like to contribute one or two things.
I agree with what engineer said now. There's a need for us as a country to come together, irrespective of our faith or our religions, because this is influencing politics in Nigeria a lot. So we need to come together, particularly religious leaders. We've been working together on so many things. We work together on fighting against violence against women, fighting against some ills in the society. The same way we should come together logically and reasonably to see how we can forge ahead in the issue of politics in the country. That's just my contribution.
Thank you, Ma. I don't want to skip this. Let me just put it forward. When our politicians, when they take office, they ask them to swear an oath. It's either you use the Bible or you use the Quran. In that aspect, we already brought religion into politics. It means that if you don't do well in your political, what you're supposed to do, then you are using the Bible to tell us that because I am this religion, I'm going to do this. So the thing here is that Nigeria has exempted the traditional practitioners. We cannot close our eyes to the fact that in Nigeria, we don't only have Muslims and Christians. If the government decides to put the traditional way, maybe Shango, you also bring the Shango thing into swear, or you bring Obatala, or you bring gods, say, okay, now we are going to use this one to swear. Do you think it's viable? Do you think any politician would even agree to swear? Because now we have bastardized the Bible and the Quran that anybody can just swear, even if they're lying. I will direct that to Pastor Lani. I'm not sure if my question is clear. Is the question clear?
Very clear.
Clear.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, look, you remember, we've been saying this from the beginning. That's why I said, when you go into political office, don't forget something. I'm a Christian. The name of Jesus is on the line. And I don't want to mess with it. But the truth of the matter is this. People that claim they are this Christian or Muslim, I have a big question around them. Because nothing should be more important than your relationship with God. It shouldn't be. You should stand by what you believe in. And there's no, I don't believe any religion wants you to go to a public office and mess up and steal money and kill people. I don't believe so. I don't believe any religion will approve that you go to an office and steal money or steal votes. I really don't believe so. That's where the problem is. Most of these guys, they use the platform of religion to get into office. Their faith is questionable. Because now, the morals, the Bible says a good name is even better than silver. People forget that. Let's not even talk of the religion. How about the name of your family? How about your surname that you put to that office? I'm a son of Olaniyi. I don't want to mess up with my father's name. But it's like those things are not in place. Now to talk of the name of God, people don't care. And then it's about service. We forget that. If you mess up your name. You mess up the name of God. And those are issues at the end of the day that we really need to wake up to. We should wake up. We should be genuine about who we believe in. I don't want to mess up with my faith in Christ. I don't want to. And that's one thing I want to carry with everything. I want to make sure with integrity, whatever I do, I hold on to it. And don't forget something. Yes, we're talking of all this. It messes up everything at the end of the day. And can you see how many people we're actually bringing down? People that want to become Christian or Muslim, they look at it. What is Muslim? What is Christianity? Because at the end of the day, these people are not even doing what they profess they are at the end of the day. And that's where the problem lies. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Olayinka, can you give us your view on it?
Trying to send something on the chat. By being a secular state constitutionally, that interprets to the fact that Nigeria recognizes traditional religion the same way it recognizes Islam and Christianity. The only difference is that although it is stated like that in the constitution, in reality, in practical aspect, it is only Islam and Christianity that the government is showing to have approved. But then the issue is not what you swear by. It is not by an instrument that you swear by. In fact, in the Bible admonishes Christians not to swear. Yes. You are not supposed to make a note, yes, either by the Bible or anything. So it's not by swearing to an instrument. It is by being true to your faith, by being true to your conviction, by being true to what you profess, by being true to virtues and the ethics of living. What are you doing with the position that you have? If you get to a particular post, if you get involved in state politics, what are you there for? Why are you there? Is it to impact lives? Is it to gain money or access for yourself? Somebody sent something on one of my Facebook chats today of a particular leader in Nigeria that said she used 35 million naira to build a single toilet.
2 toilets.
Jesus.
2 toilets.
That's crazy. Yes, that's crazy. A toilet, 37 million. Big house. And the cost is not up to 35. She built toilet with 35 million naira. And this person a particular religion. So we are not talking about religion now. Yeah, it's something that can dilute your convictions, the virtues that you practice your profession. Even if they tell people to come and swear by Ogun or by Shango, they will still do it and they will still fail. So that is not the point. It is coming back to ourselves that who are we? Who am I as a person? What am I called to do? What am I in this particular post? And God has to help us.
Mr. Alade, please, your view on this.
Okay, the swearing part, the marginalization of other religion and all that. This is my take. Islamically, it is not right for you to swear by anything, quote my word, other than the name of Allah. And you will be left by that name of Allah, not even by the Quran, because you might not even be reading. Very unfortunate. I am so sorry for the non-Muslims in this country. You mistake everybody that bears a Muslim name to be a Muslim by understanding and by practice, most especially in the north. I am quoting it, it's a live session, most especially in the north. And this is my justification. 90% of those people read it in Arabic texts, and very few of them can even explain 1 or 2 lines of what they are reading in Arabic text. I am not saying all. I am saying over 80% of people cannot explain in clear terms of English or their dialects what they have read in Arabic. So this is the game. If the Bible too had remained in Hebrew or Greek, probably Christianity too would have had the same issue. And now to the non-Muslims, and non-Christians, who you call the other religions, honestly, I must tell you this, that they are feeling marginalized. And if you look at the concept, let me quickly quote a statement for you from where I come from, which is the Southwest, though I'm not in Southwest now. So I think I should be a bit free to talk. Now, the new institution called Amotekun, if you look at the 90% of undertone, would be from those who believe in traditional way of securing. Are you getting my point now? Which some of them will still carry a gun and probably have the charm and the what have you. And by even looking at the clothes itself, you can easily be scared of. It looks like a leopard. Are you getting the concept now? So it is their own way to introduce their religion in their way. So it is a secular state that has a customary provision for every religion. So this is my take. Let us start treating ourselves as people of humanity rather than religiosity and political sects. Remember, if leadership must be questioned, followership must be examined. Are we together? If leadership must be questioned, followership must be thoroughly examined, because no leader emerges from the alien world. They emerge among us. So the question is, if I am there and you are there, what would you have done differently? And now I would say on this session, I think it's about time we start talking about the problem, because we all know the problem. Now let's start talking about the solution. Maybe they can passively learn from us, all of us, and take the solution and not give us the credit, but invariably will work for all of us. Are we together? So let's start talking more of solutions driven discussion than problem itemization discussion as a nation and as a people. Maybe we can get somewhere. Let me give you a very good gist. African continent is under siege. And we cannot leave this bond not until we are really ready to deliver ourselves. We have the manpower, which is abused and underutilized. We have the money, which is being looted every day and not being accountable for. And we have the last thing, which is the mandates. We have the mandate. The African liberty is there. So we need to think as humans, as Black race, to deliver ourselves first. I have been reading a particular book I like to share. It's called Leadership Failure in Africa, a Dilemma of a Black Race. This particular book gave me an expose to some things that are very germane to our background and practice. So we as a people should start learning to do these three things. Number one, provide solution. Number two, analyze the solution for good implementation. Number three, sustainable evaluation and monitoring process. I was on a journey this morning, a short story, and I met policemen on the road. I left at around 4 a.m. to come to the north. And guess what? In a very disturbing way, I realized that even policemen do not know the law. The policeman carrying a gun, about to shoot, I will shoot you, does not know the law. But guess what? It is a factor of incapable leaders and ignorant followers from the political sect and from the religious sect. Because that police officer belonged to a church or a mosque whom has not been religiously educated on his duty to humanity and had gotten that office of being a police officer through probably a political appointment or probably his political leader to become a policeman, whom in turn is seeing him as his moderate thug rather than a person to serve. I hope we find a way to find solutions rather than still addressing problems. And that will be my take here.
Thank you, sir. Next, we see that there's a lot of things happening in Nigeria now. There's increase in price of fuel, increase in, because once this thing was lifted, everything got expensive, from rice to the living in Nigeria is very, 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 very difficult. And most people feel that the religious leaders are supposed to be talking. They're supposed to be talking for us, because you see that most of the populations in Nigeria is either they're going to a mosque or a church. If the religious leader can't come out to say, my people, or let's say my congregation, they are suffering, there's no food, they come to church, we all pray, everyone prays. Do you think it is right for the leaders to lay back and keep quiet while things like this happen? Are they supposed to come out? I think last week the Catholic leaders, they came out to protest against the killings in the north. Why can't Nigeria as a religious body come out in mass together to say, government is killing us, we are not coping, we are not surviving? Let us forget that some of us are outside and stuff. We still get we still have our families in Nigeria. So I'm going to direct this to Mrs. Olayinka. Do you feel, let me put it this way, do you think the religious leaders should be doing something right now with the people of Nigeria and not sitting back?
Like you said, the Catholic bishops, I saw it too. They were out on the streets, sometimes maybe last week or upper week, on a rally. And I see that as something good. We have had instances where there has been called for prayers, again, like you said, by the church community and even by the Islamic communities. A call for prayer together. It has happened in the past. Things are happening, the religious leaders are coming together and they are doing it in a spiritual way. Call for prayers. What we are asking for is a step ahead, their involvement in a physical activity to show to the government that there is need for more positive action when it comes to change in the country. And I think we are getting there. We can see the leaders coming together already, and in the physical aspect, I think we are getting there. It's a good move. We've seen them in prayers. We've seen the coming together of Islamic leaders and Christian leaders in prayers. But we want it to be.
I think her network, can everyone hear me? Because I think her.
I can hear you.
Yeah, so I think before she gets back, I'm sure when she gets back, she will join us. Now let's, Pastor Olani, I would like to throw this question to you, and also Mr. Olajide can also comment on it. Do you think religion play a role in political conflict? Let's just direct it to the north. Let's direct this to the north. Do you think it plays a role? Religion plays a role
in political conflict?
Yes, or general conflict in a country.
Definitely, because if you look at it, look, I believe peace is still the ultimate. Everybody wants peace. Everybody wants to live in peace. And that is the task I believe every leader in any religion must actually aim towards. Why do you want to be in conflict continuously? Conflict does not, because if you cannot rest, if you don't make your neighbor to rest, you cannot rest too. So peace is the ultimate for everybody. I mean, the Bible says, as much as it's lying with you, be at peace with all men. And we should work at it. And peace will not just happen except we work at it. And I believe that's the aim. Like that's part of what I'm saying. When it comes to being in leadership, you shouldn't be a troublemaker. You should be somebody who works towards peace at every point in time. If you are bringing up peace and you are actually instigating people against one another to bring trouble, you are not a leader. You are a destroyer. And you are not even supposed to be in the office out there. And that is what we should all pursue, no matter who you are. Peace is the ultimate. That's the only way. Won't it be nice if every one of us can dwell together in peace? That is the aim. And that's what we should work together. Maybe it's not really happening the way it should now, but it's something everyone must work towards, that there should be peace everywhere.
Okay, and what is your take? Because when Mrs. Olayinka stopped talking, I switched to, so I didn't hear your opinion about your take on religious leader and joining voices with the common man. I think that's what she was talking about. So, Pastor Olayin, what do you think? Yes.
That's the point. Let me say this to you. Every time things happen, people will say, okay, the religious leaders are not relevant. But when issues happen, everybody go back there. Because most people belong to those groups. And you can see it happens in pockets here and there. Every group is trying to do what they can do. But then, maybe it's time now to actually start a big revolution. But it can't just be one faith. It has to be an interfaith stuff where they come together as a group and fight against the government. You know, that is when we will actually achieve a good result. If as different religious groups, we come together and we confront the government together, believe me, we'll get a good result. But the problem is this. This is what people call politics. Because the leader is of a particular religion, and they are calling me now to speak against that leader, and I want to say, no, I'm holding back. I don't want to be seen as fighting against my brother. And that's where we have problem. If the leader is not performing, let's not hide behind religion to support somebody who is not performing. Let's come together as different faiths to come together as a body to say, come, we are the leaders of the people and we don't support this. No matter what the faith of whoever is in government is, we should be able to come together and deal with them to say, come, do better. You are not performing, and you should change the way you are handling things so that indeed there will be peace. Thank you.
Sir. Mr. Engineer Olajide, Mr. Olajide, your take on it.
Okay, let me first clear something. I think this person making a comment about pivoting participation in politics as a calling, I think that has been cleared in a way. Politics is not just a calling, it is preparation, it is zeal, it is participation, it is everybody's duty to participate either as a follower or as a leader. By clearing that, I want to go Islamically. There are two verses of the Quran I really want to take us to. The first one is a part where God said to the prophet himself, he said, Lakum dinukum waliya dini, meaning is that let their religion be theirs and let yours be yours. When the prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we follow, peace be upon him, was alive, he did business with the pagans, he did with the Jews, he did with the Christians, he did with everybody. He lived life with them, and that command came. Similarly, there's another part that they said, you should not. He said, indeed, among the people of the scripture are those who believe in God and what was revealed to you, and do not get them off the road. That is Quran 3, verse 199. So I think we should get it clear when you talk about the North as religious leaders or influencing, using religion to influence politics. You cannot use religion to influence political violence or violence. Religious leader can only use, there's a difference between religion and religious leaders. So we should identify, there is a detachment between the two. People who are religious leaders, and not all religious leaders are true religion practitioners. I said that about when I was talking about the knowledge, the wisdom, and the morals. Now, going back,
Okay.
That statement, I want to say this. It is like a call. Say this. It's like. Hello?
Yes, your voice, you cut off for a moment. So
Okay. So can I go on now?
Yes, please. Please also try to make it.
So I'm wrapping up. So in a nutshell, religious leaders, their role is not just to counsel people in political office. Rather, they should ensure that their counsel are in the active, are working. Neither will political leaders also just leave the religious leaders alone, but ensure that teachings are being taught right. Because invariably, this whole thing comes back to the system of the organization or the society or community that we are in. So we should be pro-humanity, we should be pro-society, we should be pro-community. And let the differences become bygone. I hope we all learn from this, and I hope we have a better way to go ahead as a nation. Let's keep talking solution and stop talking problems.
Okay, lastly, before we open the podium for everyone to ask their questions, I just want to ask, is it religious that more women are not getting involved in politics? Are we as women set back because of religious upbringing, or it's just a general thing that it's not for women?
Okay, should I answer that, or any other person is answering?
No, it cannot be like that. I know there's another thing I am using.
Yeah, I just mute him. You can.
So, who should respond to that?
Mr. Olajide.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to see it's with a light mode. I want to say, I think Islam is a victim of most of these highlighted points. And it's because there is a whole lot of misconception about Islam by the public. Now, let me quickly say this. The position of a woman in Islam in politics and in contribution to political system or governance or economical building is so immense. I'll recommend a book. It is not written in Arabic, so it will be easy to read. It is written by a PhD professor, a PhD and now a professor. It's called The Ideal Islamic Society and the Islamic Perspective, the Ideal Islamic Society and the Islamic Perspective on Psychology. These two books will expose you as a non-Muslim to the concept of Islam, to what a woman stands to. A woman can be a leader, a woman can be in office, a woman can be in position of authority, but there are a bit of clauses there, not because of anything, which is in entanglement with our moral practice, where a woman is a leader. Even in the days of the prophet, one of the wives of the prophet was a business mongu, and she was a woman. She was a tycoon, and she was a woman. The other wife, which is the second wife, was a scholar, a certified scholar that you can, of reference, of different book compiled. So you cannot say women are not supposed to be showcased or to showcase their capacity, but there is a caveat to it. And that is where we are getting it wrong as young ladies now. And that is why some sects of people or a segregation of Muslims who feel they would rather now not come out. And that is the part of feminism. If a woman will be pro-feminism, quote my word, pro-feminism, which will in turn affect the esteem of the husband, will in turn affect the growth of the children, there is a problem. Because there will not be any other person to teach the children morals. Are we together? So sure. The gist is that if it is pro-feminism, Islam will frown at it, because the concept of feminism is a stringent concept that is taking a new shape that has even emanated and resulted to more of single mothers that we have in our community now. Or you call them career women, and they leave their home and they said, I'm facing a career after 2 children, and they don't even have opportunity to give moral to these children. So we need to make a balance. Islam is not stopping them from taking leadership offices or position. There are laid down rules that it must not affect their homes, neither must it affect their husbands. So their duties, their first call of duty is not the public, because leadership starts from home. Charity begins from home. If you train your children very well to become better leader, automatically you are a great leader. Also, you can also participate in leadership if you have trained your children very well, and you can now lead by example, by this seeing that, oh, she trained her children very well. She can actually hold the women affairs very well. And she would also help in motivating more women to be better women. She can be a minister of finance because she is prudent at the family economy, and they have about 2 or 3 businesses that is working. Are you getting me? Are you getting me? So there must be that foundation, because once you get the home missing, the Bible said, teach your child the way of the Lord, and when he grows from it, he will not depart away from it. It's also quoted in the Quran. So who is the primary teacher or the first teacher to any of us that we are even talking now? I think it's our mom in most cases. But now in these days, the children have been subjected to nanny at 3 years old, because the mother is also trying to pursue a career at 3 months old, at 3 months old, because the mother is supposed to pursue a career. There is no good breastfeeding of the children, and a lot of malnutrition, a lot of diseases are even happening. So we have to now start we must stop majoring in minor and stop minoring in major, and now start majoring in the required minor.
Okay, so in summary,
so it is left to us as a community. Sorry, 1 minute. Okay. It is left to us as a community together, based on what Pastor said, to come and learn together the values of each religion and synchronize it together where it can add value to humanity, where I'm coming back to. Because religion, the end result of religion is supposed to be pro-humanity, where you will showcase in humanity the value system of your religion. So we should come together and talk about this these values together and fine-tune them together for a public consumption. Maybe our leaders can start emanating to be better leaders from the children we start giving birth to. Because right now, the children we have now are not looking like a better future. Sorry to say that.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Olayinka, can we hear from you?
Thank you so much for this interesting twist in the topic. I think personally it's a wrong view if we think that women should not get involved in public positions because they have to see to the house. From the Bible, keeping children or training children or making sure that your house is in order is not even for women. It is a duty of men. For instance, you are not supposed to be a pastor. You are not supposed to be an elder if your house is not taken care of. And that was not talking to women. We have seen good women, powerful women getting involved in politics. The issue is the individual, the particular person that is getting involved. Can you cope? Can you do it? It's not a matter of a general law from any religious angles. The engineer just said it now, that some of the wives of the prophets, they did well in particular aspects of life. Some of them could have done well in politics too, being leaders in particular areas.
They were politics.
So there is no particular law or rule from any spiritual angle that says a woman cannot get involved in political leadership if she can manage it. And that does not say that taking care of the house is excluded from her purview. It is not excluded from the husband's purview too. Both the man and the woman are supposed to get involved in training children. In fact, the problem we have in society today is that of absentee fathers, not absentee mothers. Because we have come to realize that the women cannot do it alone. And in the past, they've been doing it. They've left all the issues of politics to the men. They focused on the children. What do we have today? So there is the need for the men to get involved in children training. It is the duty of both parents or both spouses. And in the area of feminism, you can be a feminist too. As long as you are a protector of the rights of women, as long as you are somebody that believes that women should not be discriminated against. Feminism is not just about thinking about women's superiority over men, no, or fighting for women's rights against men. It's about the interests of the protection and the development of women. So we have seen, there was, like I put on the chart, there's a particular country, I can't remember now, a white woman. She was showed in public breastfeeding her child. She can cope with it. Yes, she can cope with it. So I think it's a matter of individual. Let us bring it personally to ourselves. I've had instances where I've been asked to come and get involved in politics. And sincerely speaking, I've not had a good experience about this. And that is my personal opinion. I've been invited to come and I've gone involved. Maybe some people who are from here, where I'm talking from now, maybe they heard about it. But involvement in politics is not for me. But that does not mean we should generalize it that every woman should not get involved. I'm a leader in my church. I'm a leader in my organization. I get involved in a lot of things that has to do with leadership, but not just public politics, as in state politics. But women can get involved and they can do it well. I think we are coming to that state in Nigeria. If the men will give us the opportunity.
You have the opportunity, man.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Thank you so much. I think it's about the individual.
Yes.
Like the engineer has been saying, let us talk about the solution. Don't let's talk about the problem, engineer. Don't let's talk about the problem that women can encounter or that has to do with home training or managing the home or let us talk about individuals. Do they have the call? Can they do it? What are they to gain from it? What are they to give? What is the impact that they can make? And can they cope? If they can, fine. They could have things that they can add to the value of the society. Every individual is born for a purpose. We are sent for a purpose, whether you are a man or a woman. I'm doing so well in my profession. I'm doing so well in my practice. I'm doing so well in bringing about. I'm not just involved in state politics, but we have women who can do it. And we have instances, we have examples of them in the scriptures, and we have them too in Islam. So I think we should just give them the opportunity to let us try it. Let's see how it can let's see how it can come up. Let's see the change we can bring. We have not had it in Nigeria so far, and I think we need it because men have been doing it and doing it and doing it, and look at where we are. Let's try the women too.
Thank you, ma'am. Pastor Olani, please your view on it. This should be the last.
Okay. Look, I agree completely with our mommy. The truth of the matter is this: can you cope? That's all. Because you can't go and race, you can't go and work in the public and fail at your own. The balance. I mean, we have people like Deborah in the Bible. She was a leader. And even men were following her, isn't it? So the truth is this. Like I said from the beginning, not everybody can go into certain things. But when you are called for it, God will empower you. You will not fail at the home front because you can't go and succeed in public and fail at home. It doesn't work that way. Charity begins at home. You've got to do it well at home, but then when God calls you for such office as a woman, He will back you up, He will empower you, He will engrace you, He will make sure that even in every area you do not fail. And that is very important as far as I'm concerned. But we shouldn't limit the people. We should give them the room, whatever sex they are. We should just back them up. And like she rightly said, I'm thinking it's time to even give women a chance. Let's see what they can do.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
They are more compassionate. They are more compassionate. I believe maybe they will do much better. I'm thinking so.
Everyone always talk about the emotional part, and that is our fault. That is what it seems to be our fault. Mr. Olajide, before I come to you, please, if you are with us here and you want to ask a question, please raise your hand so I see it. So I know that after Mr. Olajide, then you can come up, please. I see Mr. Bright Igile. After Mr. Olajide talks, then okay, and over to. Okay, you can go on, Mr. Olajide.
Okay, I quickly need to clear a simple air. Number one, Muslims, women are not restricted to the home, not in any condition, which is in line with what Barrister said earlier. It's about capability and ability, which is also in entanglement with that of the man. Also, when it comes to child training, it is not a duty of just the woman, but it is both ends. It takes sharp iron to sharpen iron. So it is both duty. But in cases, or in some cases, some roles are more gender demanding than the other. Gender demanding, quote my word, than the other. But another thing about, another beauty of our women, most especially the African women, is that they are good multitaskers. They multitask very well and excellently well. It is the same woman that will cultivate, the same woman that will harvest, the same woman that will take it to the market to sell, and the same woman that will bring back the money home, and the same woman that will feed the home and cook the meal. So they are good multitaskers. But we should know when to hold on, we need to know when to stop, and we need to know when to go. And this is so essential for the Muslims, the Christians, and the pagans, and the non-Muslims and the non-Christians to come together under an interreligious faith, to come up with a referendum or a memorandum of understanding that will be a guide for us to go. One of the things about leadership, either you are a man or a woman, is that a leader should not be given leadership character or roles if they can access the home and is not well managed.
Exactly.
So either you are a man or you are a woman, it is irrespective of the gender. It is Islamically stated. And I would also recommend, go to Google and just put women around Prophet Muhammad. They are not his wife, women around him. All of them are exemplary women of different field, politics and the likes. So Islam never regimented or relegated them to the home. But in some cases, We have different temperaments. You have a choleric, a sanguine, a phlegmatic, a melancholic. They have their capacity at where they all operate efficiently well. You agree with me that in some homes, there are some homes that the woman is the lead player of the economic part, while the man is the lead player of the domestic part, and they are living fine. It's identification of strengths and weaknesses to harness your opportunities and be able to fight your threats. So I think I need to wrap up on this note to say that we must realize the ability to manage our differences for cooperation rather than just tolerating ourselves, because intolerance, you can escalate into violence. You pent up at a level and you cannot tolerate any longer. But when we decide to cooperate, we would harness our differences for growth and development. And there's where I will stop.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olajide. I will give the platform to Mr. Bright. I hope I do. Is Mr. Bright still here?
Yeah.
Yes, please, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Bright is still here. Yes, I agree. The house. I'm actually a pastor here where I'm based. So I'm a clergy, I'm an educator, and before I relocated to the US, I used to be South Africa based. I'm really, really glad that we're taking our own destiny in our hands right now. Taking our destiny in our hands. Yeah. I want to greet everybody. I want to thank you for, for pouring out your heart. And Nigerians are a breed of intelligent people. Every line was just like, I'm learning a new thing. But this is it. Everybody was talking from the point of politics Nigeria, but that is not how it is. I still have an ongoing LLB program right now with UNISA, and they'll talk about the sources of law. One of them is universal component. So there's a universal component to whatever practice you're talking about. Don't always look at politics from the spectacle of Nigeria. I think we've been so Nigerianized, and so I think it's messed up our mind to a point that we see life from that lens, So in America, where I am, one of the things that I noticed is that even my mailbox, you will see something like a clergy lives here, a clergy lives here, is attached somewhere in there, because clergy clergymen or men of the cloth are seen as leaders of communities. The truth is this. I think when we were in school back then, they would say agents of socialization. Before we now discovered that social studies were actually sociology. Everybody's supposed to be a student of society. A religion is an integral component of society. Is an integral component. That was why I was trying to chime in my contribution by typing. There are 4 models that we should supposed to rely on: Constantinism, Aristianism, theocracy, and our collaborative partnership. These guys who are leading us in Nigeria, let's be frank. Let me say it in our local parlance. They're not born them with 2 heads. They were born Nigerians the same way we were born as Nigerians. I don't know where we come to. It's actually abdication. I think for me, it's abdication. It's not like you are abdicating your responsibility. You want them to fix your country for you because you think you are a Muslim cleric, you are a Christian cleric, and you don't want to soil your name. I mean, this is ours. Politics is any activity in which different interests within a given unit of rule are first conciliated and reconciliated by giving them a share in power in proportion to their importance for the welfare and survival of the whole community. Even Jesus, in the broader sense of the word, was political, because they said, when are you going to restore to us the kingdom? When are you going to restore? The crowd followed him because he healed their sick, he delivered their oppressed. He was providing public good. He was providing sustenance, he was providing hope. It got to a point, post-resurrection, they had to start casting lots to choose leaders. I don't know what is this election. See, the thing is this. I did a piece one time. Then I was in South Africa, liberation theology. When I say what a long walk, so far yet so near. You know, so near yet so astonishingly far. You know, the thing is, liberation theologists have actually led revolts across South America. Go and do liberation theology. They've led in America, civil rights leaders, for example, Martin Luther King. This is our country. Do you understand? I happen to be born in Nigeria. I didn't choose to be. I showed up in that geographical piece of land, and they say, this is where I come from. And you want me to just divorce myself and allow thieves and thugs and all of these guys to lead me? You know, I'm a Nigerian before I became a Christian. I was first a Nigerian before I became a Christian. And I don't know if you are a Muslim or a Buddhist or whatever you are, you're first a Nigerian. And this is us. As a matter of fact, that is why they want to disrupt most of these conversations. Because truly the power belongs to the people. Truly the power, forget about the sloganeering by PDP. Power actually belongs to the people. It's our country. It's our nation, it's our country, you know, and okay, they invested in us, maybe by paying part of our school fees, fine. And we also owe them. We also owe them maybe thinking. Let's think on their behalf. If they can't think, let's put on the thinking cap for them. We also owe them service. Right now, the bulk of what I earn or make in America ends up in Nigeria. Am I a local government chairman? Am I a governor? Am I a president? Because diaspora remittances is where the sustenance comes from. So from your failure, you are putting pressure on our minds because we are grinding. We're grinding diaspora, thinking about the country. We're taking our resources to you guys, and you take the resources and you run back to New York. You know, so somebody has to stop it. And I was telling a brother yesterday, you know, he's in North Carolina. I said, listen, the destiny of Nigeria resides in the hands of diasporans, those in diaspora, because there's that drive, because we see societies that work. This thing is not a rocket science, for heaven's sake. It's a solar power energy. It's not I have a man I'm working with right now. He's an adjunct professor at one of the top universities here. We're doing a project in Gambia to provide solar power. And he was saying that I was born in Gambia, I was raised in Gambia, and Gambia is the size of Delaware. How come for over 50 years there's no electricity? What does it take? You know, we have to really take our. I'm glad we just don't want to stain ourselves. We don't want to ruffle feathers. We don't want to be dirty in the mud. But this is our country. This is our country. You know, it's not a calling. It's not a calling. It's not nothing. It is. I'm a member of society, and like families, that's a nuclear society. Everybody is a member. We are an integral part of that society. Nigeria. Why will I leave it for you? And the reason why all of that is happening is because of the abdication, like I mentioned earlier on. So that will just be my contribution.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ovo, I saw your hand raised. Mr. Ovo, are you there?
It's me. Okay. Hello.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks to all the speakers. I just want to make two quick comments. I want to join the lady who spoke in defense of women when the point of feminism was raised. My understanding is this: all the major religions, including tradition, including what we would call indigenous tradition, both in Africa and elsewhere, there is a clear conspiracy by men who have always dominated most aspects of life to reinterpret religion, whatever text it is, whatever scripture, whether it's the Islamic scriptures or the Christian scriptures or even the traditional scriptures. We always have people who will interpret them to show somehow that it is either not right, it is either not natural, or it's either inconvenient, or it's going to be a problem if women are given the same regard, the same respect, the same rights that men have. But there are people who are getting more and more convinced that there is no God who says this, neither the God of the Muslims, nor the God of the Christians, nor even our traditional gods. These are the doings of men. And feminism is simple. Many men want to make it look complicated. It is simple. It is respect women, give women the same rights that you give men. It is very simple. Let us not try to pretend that it's a complex thing, that we are going to have more problems. Without prejudice against the comment one of our main speakers said, he said something that there are going to be more single fathers and mothers. I'm very glad for one of the responses that came from the lady who responded. There's a crisis of absentee fathers. As far as we know, there's no crisis yet of absentee mothers. So it is on us men. Let us not try. The younger generation is going to be wiser than our generation. Let's not try to twist things to say that for some natural or ecclesiastical or spiritual reason, women cannot be as involved in politics as men are. And I don't even buy that thing of say, let's give women a chance and let's see what they can do. We men have had a chance. What have we done? What have we done? The result is there. So the next point I would like to comment on very briefly is this issue of religion and politics. Religion is political in every sense, in almost every sense, especially in the sense of religion as institution, even religion as faith, even religion as individual faith. And my problem with Nigeria is that because we have a sectarian system where our relationship to the state, our relationship to the country is defined by sectarian principles, by what faith you belong to, especially whether you are Christian or Muslim, where you come from, whether you are Yoruba or Igbo or Niger Delta, and by also region where you come from, rather than by your right as an individual, your right as a citizen. Unfortunately, I don't see that we are going to ever come out of religious crisis. Well, now we have this terrorist thing, we have Boko Haram and these extreme forms of terrorism. But even when the religious problems are not extreme, we are forever going to have religious crisis. Because religion is very simple. Religion, just like ethnicity is a very simple thing that you can push to get people to show their worst. You can also use it to get people to show their best, but politicians are clever. They know that if you press the religious button, you can really get a very nice neighbor to kill his neighbor. You can get a very nice person to do what is very horrible. So they know. Unscrupulous politicians will always do it, except we go back to the basics and redraw our terms of union as a country so that the sectarian focus is no longer the focus, but the individual, the citizen, the rights of the individual to certain basics becomes the focus. I don't think in another 50 years or 100 years we'll get out of this. But thank you very much. I see that, I hope I've not misquoted you. I see that comment, but I do not intend to misquote you, sir. But I'm not really saying this against you as an individual. I do not really think you said anything negative. I'm just actually trying to say what I've heard many people say. I'm not necessarily saying that you said it. But I'm a Christian. I know very many Christians, male Christians, have tried to use the Christian scriptures. I'm also a traditional person. I mean, we're all traditional people. I also know that in tradition, our fathers, our uncles, they also try to use tradition to shut down women. But I'm just saying that it's high time we stopped that. Let me retract the reference to what you said, sir, in case you feel that I said it negatively. But I don't really mean it negatively. But thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ogo.
I would really like maybe.
Please, who is?
Am I allowed?
I didn't see the hand raised, and I'm not sure who is talking. I'm not sure where the voice is coming from. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Ambrose. Before we come to you, just give me a moment. Let me try to chip in something. I wanted to talk about the Kama law that was just passed into in Nigerian law, and we have seen that there's much talks on it by religious leaders and so. So since we are all discussing, I would like to put it in the open. Is it right for the government to be so involved in NGOs? Let me just put it as NGOs, or it is out of their jurisdiction to handle that aspect? Or are we as religious leaders just trying to be defensive because there's something else that they don't want to be in the open? Okay, I'll go back to you, Mr. Ambrose. I don't know, I'm not sure if Mr. Bright raised his hand or it was prior to this moment. Mr. Bright, were you trying to ask a question or contribute? You already did that.
No, that was prior to now, prior to this moment, yeah. Okay,
Mr. Ambrose, we are listening. Please, if you have any comments, just try to signify by putting the hand so I can call you in. Mr. Ambrose.
He's not in the chat list any longer.
He's on.
Okay, he's now back. He's back. He's back.
Mr. Ambrose, are you there? Okay, before he comes on, if you would like to contribute on the Kama issue that is ongoing at the moment, we can signify and then you can speak. Mrs. Olayinka.
Yes, I think Kama is about an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. It might not look right in a civilized society because it used to be the practice long ago, even in the days of early Jewish custom that became part of what we call the Bible today. It was an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But for certain reasons, I would appreciate it in some cases. We've had the issue of violence against women going on for so long, and there has not been a solution to it. We've had a lot of advocacy, a lot of fights, a lot of laws. I think one thing that has not been tried and that should be attempted for a change is this Kama law. Only in the area of sexual abuse of women, because it's becoming a situation now that is crazy. You find a 2-month-old baby being raped. You find 18-month-old baby raped to death. You find it happening in bizarre, unthinkable situations. I think a law that will cut off the penises of rapists would work.
Okay.
And I believe I'm not the only one in this reasoning. So for that, I accept the Kama law. I think we should try it for a change. And even when it comes to the issue of beating up women, I think we should try a change of situation, a change of personality. If a man does it, let us bring him out and let us see him being beaten by a woman publicly. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen that women beat up men, but the cases are not as more as we have of men beating up women and beating them up to death. Now, I'm not a violent person and I don't advocate violence. I've written academic papers on the use of non-violence to change violence. But in this issue of rape, I believe the Kama law should be tried for a change. If it doesn't work, somebody says it is foolishness to keep on doing one thing the same way and expecting a change. If we have tried so many things and there's been no change, I think we should try a different thing and see whether it will give us the change we want or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Is there anyone who wants to contribute or ask a question? Any other contribution or questions? Okay, I'm guessing there's no one else. We are going to round up for today. Thank you all for being present. I really appreciate. This video is going to be uploaded to our YouTube. So if you have friends, okay?
Engineer is raising up his hand.
Okay, sir. Yes, you can come on.
I can see his hand up.
I can also see it. I'm not sure if he's hearing me.
Maybe he has been cut off again. I was cut off. I had to relaunch.
Okay. Anyways, I'm just taking our time, and we have to round up because we have been here for almost 2 hours. We will still have different and more opportunities to converse. We are going to have another one of this podcast next 2 weeks, and it's going to be an interesting topic. If you have your friends that are not here, you can always share this to them. I would upload it on our YouTube page. Please follow and like our pages at Better Nigeria Oriented on every platform. Thank you all once again for being here. Hope to see you next time. Thank you, Mr. Olani. Thank you, Mrs. Olayinka, and Mr. Olajide. I think he got cut off. Thank you for everyone that's here. I'll see you another time.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right.
Thank you so much.